Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode number 260 of the Audible Farm podcast, and this episode is brought to you by the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Go to www.fdfineartsassociation.org to find out more. Their website's got all the information about it. Check out FDT, their podcast. It's on their YouTube channel. You can also listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. There's a link right down below to their website, so check it out, everybody. This week I'm sitting down with Tayler Thompson. Taylor's been on the podcast before. It's been years ago, though, and a lot's happened in that time. And we talk about his new project, Tayler with an E, and the website there. And we also talk about, just it's been a long time since I've talked to him. This was a surprisingly fun one. This is the first remote podcast I've done since we've come back. So let's see what it's about. I don't know. I put it up on a TV. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you're watching, if you're listening, it'll just sound like I'm talking to somebody on the internet. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. I had a blast sitting down talking with Tayler Thompson.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
I'm sitting down with Tayler Thompson. I see your name is Tayler with an E. Is that how you actually spell your name?
No, I actually, when I started the Tayler project, I took the O out of my name. It's regularly spelled Taylor with an O.
Yes.
But my mom's name was Eva, and she passed away. And in the midst of creating this project, I just didn't know what to name it, so I just called it Tayler, but just changed it to an E for my mom, It's
nice.
kind of a go mom.
Well, that kind of takes care of like the first section of this, but so I just want to for anybody that hasn't, you've been on the podcast before. You were on episode 183. That was March 31st of 2022. That was over 3 years ago.
Wow. That was a while ago.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, if you guys have missed that episode after you like this one or whatever, go back and listen to that one as well. I mean, it's a different time, different day, different age. Tayler with an E is your new project that you have. That was something you had sent me, which is really funny. I want to start out here. You had sent me a track that you had recorded, and this is something you will do periodically. Does that work to get views up or to get people to kind of notice your stuff, just sending them a message and being like, hey, maybe you'll like this?
I think so. I think it does. It kind of keeps the, I guess I'm an old man now, but like way back in when I first started into the music world, you probably remember it as well, as you could give people CDs.
Yep.
And look at it. And that you didn't have Facebook. So you couldn't, so it's kind of like the new way of giving a CD to somebody is by like sharing that link, because they'll have access to it through their platform. And most generally, if I talk to somebody or send them a link, it's somebody I've met at a show, on tour, somewhere in this country, and we had that common ground. So it's just like, that's just my way of giving you my single, my CD.
Nice. So I mean, it worked on me. I clicked on it. It took me like a month, but I clicked on it.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time because, just like the CD, like, are you going to put it right in, or did you get the new Limp Bizkit record and you're still listening to that?
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I love how you made a quick Limp Bizkit reference, like right out, like 5 minutes in. Like, I love it.
My favorite. I love that. I took my kids to see Limp Bizkit last year on their family vacation, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. Dude, that's one of my favorite things. Online, it's I just see like you guys in the Ancient Elm sphere, like every now and then sharing Limp Bizkit memes, and it just makes me laugh hysterically because like I just love it. Like you were doing that before the resurgence of Limp Bizkit. Like it was just like
real, man.
Oh, it's super fun. So yeah, you've been on the podcast before. We're going to talk about this Tayler with an E though. Is it solo? Is it just you? Because that's the whole gist of just calling it Tayler.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I do all the writing. I do a lot of the mixing. I do the master. I don't do the mastering. A friend of mine, Greg Schneering, does that for me. He has a setup where he does the mastering, and he helps with my vocals as well. So when it comes to like the prime chunk of it, that is Tayler.
Okay.
So I figured when I get time to play some shows, I'm not in a hurry. I'm more into the writing right now because that's what it's about. It's about music and writing it. You can always play a show, but I'd like to group up some friends that I've met over the years. I mean, I've done my fair share of touring around and met plenty of musicians. I'd like to just kind of put like a little group together to play a couple shows at some point.
Yeah.
Be kind of fun.
Yeah. So that is kind of like your end goal with this, but like, how did it all start?
Yeah.
How did it all start? What was like the gist of you? Cause I mean, you're not, I don't know. I guess I didn't know you primarily as you play every instrument. I guess I just thought you were a drummer, correct?
Ooh, that's mean, but yes, I was just a drummer.
Well, I mean, not just a drummer, because like the funniest thing is like the drummers have such good rhythm that when they go to another instrument, it's like that whole part is just, you don't have to learn that, you already know it. So,
well, the story about me, I guess, if you want to get, I mean, how far back do you want to go with this? Do you want to go to Ancient Elm? Do you want to go to school band when I would skip class? Like, I skipped class in high school. Like, I would skip out of a class. Most people would go out, get drunk. But no, Tayler would skip class and go to the band room. And play. I would play instruments in the practice rooms. I would just grab a guitar, there'd be a drum set up. Maybe there's a keyboard, my trombone. I didn't care. I didn't want to go to math. So I would go play music.
Well, that works.
So, I mean, how far back do you want to go?
I mean, we probably talked about a lot of it in the other episode. I'm assuming we did. But what did you start with?
Well, I started with playing trombone when I was in like 5th grade.
Okay, all right.
That's what kind of started. My mom and my dad have always been into like 70s rock, 80s music. Like Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd, Eric Clapton. Mm-hmm. So it was always, every Sunday morning, mom and dad be doing the house cleaning. You'd always hear some really cool guitar solos or something all the time. So I was like, well, it's band time. I'll go do the trombone. That's cool. But then jazz band showed up, and then, boom, rock and roll showed up.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's really fun though. Like jazz band was like the thing where like if you kind of liked playing the trumpet or whatever, like when you got to jazz band, it was like, oh hell yeah, this is awesome music. It's different than what you're normally used to playing. I don't know what the deal with that was. I feel like that's a good conduit to other types of music if you're kind of first start playing. Like that's the first time you get close to like kind of rocking and stuff. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, they always say that jazz and blues were kind of the beginning of. Kind of like the start of rock and roll back in like the Elvis eras and stuff.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
So what's the choice to start this Tayler with an E project? Was it because I mean you're playing all the instruments and doing the singing and everything, correct?
Yeah. So with Ancient Elm, we were I wouldn't say that Ancient Elm ever died or, it didn't break up or anything like that. It was more just the evolution of how our lives kind of grew. And we all love music and everything. And we all started getting jobs and going our own ways. Dave ended up moving to a different town for some better opportunities and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, you can't pass up opportunities, So it's like, that's cool, whatever. So we ended up working, we had a couple songs we wanted to work on before we wanted to finish up some music, It didn't want to just like, it went dormant is what the word I'm trying to think, the music, the project of Ancient Elm went dormant. But we were able to record a few songs with Josh Schrader, became a friend of mine. He's a producer. He works with bands, he writes for King 810, and he produced the last Lorna Shore records, and just just really good dude he's got a good ear, and so we were able to finish out, like, write our best music with a really good producer. Dave and I were, so it was kind of a good opportunity to kind of like put the band in the box. Well, Tayler was not done with that. I was ready to write more music. So I took my music or I wouldn't say my music, but like my riffs that I had. And I just sat down and started doing some stuff. I couldn't stop writing. And my friend Todd Partridge, I'm not sure if you remember him. He played for King of the Tramps and Solomon Grundy. and he has a studio, and I went out and did some projects with him, played some drums for him, and he offered me to let me use his stuff. So I just took that opportunity to, it was over the winter, so I just pretty much locked myself in that studio and just started writing, and just kind of looked at it and like, okay, well, now I have stuff, but it's not Ancient Elm stuff. It's not even metal. It's just weird music. So I just said, well, I guess I'll call it Tayler. I don't really, I feel like music really makes the name for the band or project. I mean, you can have a silly band name and have the greatest music. And I think that that's kind of what my approach was. So that's why I took the E from my mom, put that in my name, said, boom, there we go. There's my project, Tayler.
I like to think about bands with names and just how dumb they are, and how, or like how nonsensical they are to like anything, like Rush. Like, what's the point of that? Like, that name doesn't really, like, it's not anything really, you know. It's, or like Alice in Chains. Like, if that never existed and somebody had a band called that and it was on a local show, like, most people would be like, I'm not going to that. Like, Alice in Chains,
what is that?
What is that? Get out of here. You know, so like, I'm just throwing out random bands. I saw Alice in Chains on your shirts, or on your shirt there, but like, I don't know. It just makes me think band name. Like, what's in a name? I'm in a band called Three Finger Betty. Like, come on.
I love that name.
It's so stupid.
I have that record. Actually, here, check this out. I just actually spun this the other day.
Oh, you're the man. Guess what? I think those are sold. I think those are sold out.
I think, are these numbered?
No, but I think we only made maybe 250, 300, something like that.
I have one of them.
That is freaking awesome. I actually have two. I bought one for somebody that never bought it. And I don't think I'm just going to keep them both. I don't know.
I would. I'd recommend it. It's a good one. I enjoy it. It added to my 10-inch collection. So I got a few different records that that's what I collect, records. But records that I will listen to. I don't get records that I won't listen to.
Yeah.
You know, I won't get it just because it's Alice in Chains. Like, it better be. I mean, I'm going to love any Alice in Chains record. That's a bad example. I don't know. I don't have a good example. But either way, I don't want to buy a record I don't want to listen to.
That's true. I mean, okay, this is a weird question. We're just going to go off on a tangent, and we'll come back to Tayler in just a second. Tayler with an E. But like, have you found yourself as you get older, where like when you were younger, you were like, I don't really like this music, and then you get older, and some music you're just like, you know what? I put on this album the other day, and this is actually a pretty good album, start to finish.
Yes, I have, and it's a lot of it is like older music.
Like, how old is like older music?
Like into the 50s. Even like I got this one record that had some, I don't even know the songs, but it's like doo-wop or bebop or whatever you want to call it, just kind of a 40s swing style.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I do. Like, I'll throw that on and clean up my record room, and just, it's not a very big room, but I mean, you got to dust sometimes.
Yeah. You ever like peel one off the ceiling and play it?
I should. I honestly, I've never listened to any of those up there.
That's wild.
And they're old though. I mean, like some of those are like metal almost, you know, like,
wow.
Like, I don't know. Some of them are the old 45s too, with the big hole in the middle.
Yep.
My record player doesn't play those.
You gotta get the adapter, baby.
I know. I need to invest a little more into my record player. Right now I'm using my dad's old turntable from like 1979 or whenever the hell he went to college.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Dude, it still works. I listen to it today.
Some of those, when they like refurbish them, go for a lot of money. So, you know, even if they're like off brands.
See, he grew up he's from Fort Dodge, and it's got a little receipt or invoice where some repair shop in Fort Dodge put a new belt on the record player for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, you went to a repair shop to fix your record player. That is so cool.
That is awesome. I recall, and this is going to sound wild, but I recall when I was young, we had a VCR that we had taken in a couple times to get repaired because we used it so much.
That's insane. I think maybe we fixed the TV once.
I do recall taking a TV in a few times to get it fixed too.
have to help my dad carry it because it was such a heavy TV.
Yeah, they were huge. That's funny.
That's why. Oh gosh, yeah, I forgot about it. Now that we're talking about it, there was a dude called I don't know his name. Anyway, he was a guy downtown Lakeview where I grew up, and he had always was fixing different like household entertainment devices.
Mm-hmm.
What if he's still doing that? I mean, I guess what would you fix today?
And that was the thing, because like, and this is gonna sound crazy, I recall like our old VCR, which I wish we still had, because if it worked, it would probably be worth a lot of money. It was like some old Zenith VCR that was like heavy duty and bulletproof and made out of like metal and components. And then I recall having a VCR after that one. Eventually we got a new one because it had different hookups or whatever. And the newer one, when that one broke, we took it somewhere to get it fixed, and the person was like, we don't fix these. These are like made to be broken, and then they just go away. Kind of like some car parts. They used to like repair them, and now it's like, nah, we just have to throw away half the car and then put new ones in.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what it is. They're just like, nah, it'd be cheaper just to buy a new VCR at this point, because they're all made out of plastic and junk parts, and I don't know. Now you can't even find a VCR.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have one that's like a double DVD and VHS.
Oh, awesome!
We bust that thing out at Christmas for like, what's that?
Is it one of the ones you can record from one to the other?
Yes.
That's freaking sweet.
And it's like, you know, it's really large. Like, I don't know how big it is, but it's a VCR and a DVD player together, so it's just large. It's not really anything fun. We just busted out at Christmas for Christmas movies, and that's about it.
And this is gonna sound crazy, I recently got an old PlayStation out to watch DVDs, because I was like, I don't even have a DVD player. I have to go get an old PlayStation out of a box, which is funny because there's gonna be people that are like, you don't even play your PlayStation. It's like, no, I don't. But yeah, I was watching a bunch of DVDs, and then it's like, well, I also have like boxes of VHS tapes still, but I don't have a VHS player. And I don't know, I don't like collect VHSs or anything, but every now and then like a VHS will pop up on my Facebook feed for some reason. I don't know why. And it's like VHS of the movie Falling Down. I don't know if you ever heard of that movie. It's like some guy trying to like get across town to his kid's birthday party or something. The traffic jam, he abandons his car, decides he's going to walk, and he's just having a bad day. I don't know what the whole gist of the movie is. It's like a man's redemption. I don't know. I don't know. It just made me think like, man, I wish I had a copy of this. And I was like, nah, I don't. And then it's like, do they have copies? And I found VHS copies online, and I was like, man, I don't know. The whole record thing just makes me think of old media, because I do have a stack of old records here too, and I don't listen to them.
I love physical media. That's like, if you're gonna call me a hoarder, it's because of physical media. Because I still have, like, behind me, I don't know if you can see, but like there's like a cubby back here. That's all CDs back there. Like I still have my CDs from high school, dude.
I got a bunch. Have you ever checked to see if any of the CDs are from, I can't remember what company it was, but there's like some company that manufactured CDs for people, and they did it in a cheap fashion, and they like degraded after about 10 to 20 years, and they're like, don't work anymore.
The what?
Yeah, like I don't remember what it was. Like I'm gonna look it up right now because I got a computer here. But
yeah, I'm curious.
CD manufacturer makes cheap CDs that break after 20 years. I don't know. I'm just gonna look this up and see what it is. I don't know. Or was it DVDs? I don't remember.
There's so many scams and that stuff. It's insane.
I don't remember. If somebody can find it, just comment it or just tell me I'm stupid because I made it up. But I'm pretty sure that's actually a thing where like it was it was either CDs or DVDs, but yeah, they like just fall apart. I don't know if it was like MGM movies or it was like one company specifically.
They just crumbled in their hands.
Yeah, like the metal disc part that did all the reading just like bubbles in the inside. You can just like scratch it all apart, like it just flakes off. I don't know.
That's wild. It's funny you say flaking off in CDs, because do you remember when they did like the 12 CDs for $1, Columbia Records thing.
Yeah.
So my mom did that one time, and there was a Celine Dion record, and I'll never forget it. I don't know why I did it, but thought I was being a good son, and I wrote Thompson on our last name on the CD for my mom. I don't know why, but I wrote it with a pen, and it carved it into her new Celine Dion CD. And it just like went stretched all the way across her. So on the shiny side, it said Thompson like backwards, you know.
Oh gosh.
Totally ruined it. You know, this is like 1995, 96, you know. So yeah, they were pretty pissed off about that.
I can imagine.
They had to buy a new CD.
Poor Celine Dion.
I just doubled her record sales by my parents alone.
Oh, that's true. I mean, of course they're gonna go buy another copy.
They had to. The heart will go on. I think that was her, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes.
We can't deny it.
We all know that. Were you ever into cassettes?
I didn't have very many. No, I can't say I really had a whole lot of a cassette collection. I was right at the CD time, so it wasn't like really hard to get CDs when I was getting into music, I guess. I mean, I had a couple. Like, I had a Ninja Turtles CD once. Remember the Ninja Turtles performances they had?
Yes, when they made a band.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It's like a intergalactic something. I don't remember, but I just remember it was like a blue cassette. I had that.
That's hilarious.
I can't recall of any other tape that I really had, though.
I was going to look it up. I'm not going to look it up.
You should. Everybody should look it up right now.
When I got my first like cars after school, like, you know, after I graduated, it's like, all right, you got to buy your own car or whatever, you know, and the cars I bought were always like used cheap cars, and they all had cassette players. So, I mean, my first car didn't even have a cassette player. That's how cheap it was. I bought it at a garage sale.
What kind of car did you have?
A Plymouth Sundance. Look that up. Yeah.
A Sundance? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's a wild looking one. So that was,
I had a Dodge 600.
I don't even Dodge 600. But yeah, so like all my cars, that looks pretty cool. All my cars I ever had cassette players basically. So I had to find cassettes to listen to. So I would go to garage sales and get cassettes from garage sales. That's a
Sundance.
That's it right there.
It's like a stubby Camaro.
It's so funny looking. I
love it.
I didn't mind it. It barely worked, and I ended up selling it at a garage sale. So easy come, easy go. But yeah, so like I ended up buying cassettes from like garage sales and things like that, or you know, you go to like eventually you go to like a Half Price Books or somewhere that sells used ones, and you try and find like obscure ones or really fun ones that you really want to listen to, as opposed to just whatever somebody else had. But I ended up getting like a lot of really good ones at garage sales. Like I have like 7 Van Halen cassettes. Like I got a pile of stuff. Like, and it's not like a ton, but I probably have like, you know, maybe 100. You know, it's not like a pile, but it's enough to be like, this is a decent chunk of stuff. Like there's, you know, White Snake and Thin Lizzy and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. It's like all the rock, you know, heavy rock stuff. So,
oh yeah.
The funny thing about it was, though, I listened to a few albums just like relentlessly because I was like, these are some of my favorite albums to listen to. I remember listening to Screaming for Vengeance, which was Judas Priest, and I listened to that a lot. And then when I finally like, you know, whatever, updated and had a car that I could like Bluetooth in some music from my phone to or whatever, I remember listening to it and I'm like, this doesn't sound quite right. So I ended up going back to my car and putting the cassette in, and I realized that my cassette player was just like a hair slow. And I mean, so like a 3-minute song would be like 3 minutes and 6 seconds. So it wasn't like a lot, but it was enough to be like, oh, everything's a little slower and it sounds a little bit more like deliberate and heavy, and it had that modulation of being down just a skosh, so the high notes weren't as high, but it made like and this is come at me, bro, but it made Kiss Crazy Nights. It made that album just like insanely fun to listen to.
Oh my gosh. You know, I won't hate on you for Kiss.
No, that's one of my,
I can't hate on nobody.
That's one of my favorite ones ever, to like point at people and be like, this band looking like this like they were like Guar back in the day, you know, like they were wild looking. And then you go out and listen to their stuff, and it's just like, Beth, what can I do? And you're like, wait, what? Like, I mean, some of their songs were a little heavier, I get it, but like they weren't really like heavily distorted guitars and just like scare you stuff. But I guess that's how the times changed, because before that it was Alice Cooper.
Yeah, there's always got to be that shock value to them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I always loved the shock value of music, though. Especially when it was like not immoral shock value, but like, oh my God, how'd they make it so heavy and like destructive?
Yes.
That's what I like.
I mean, there is something to be said though about like I don't want to call it showmanship, but like if anybody's seen Alice Cooper, he's doing wild stuff and he's like cutting heads off and doing all the crazy stuff on stage, you know, like it's wild, you know. But then
that's insane.
But then they're also like very proficiently playing music at the same time, which I think that to me is like the wild thing.
It's the coordination between how some of those guys can just flail around, especially the older guys that did it without the backtracks.
Yeah.
You know, doing it live and having their, like, you're ripping that solo, but you're still like running. Iron Maiden's a good example.
Yeah.
You know, they're just running side to side, just shredding. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how are you not like slipping off the string?
Yeah.
No, they're just awesome, I guess.
Oh my gosh. I mean, for sure. That's it makes you think when like Eddie comes out and they're dinking around, like hitting them with the guitars and stuff while they're still playing. Like, I don't know. I mean, half the time, for the really hardcore Iron Maiden fans out there, half the time Yannick was just like throwing his guitar around anyways and not even playing songs.
So, God, it just man, what a time, you know? Just the energy everybody had in that time, like where it was just metal, just genuine music.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing where like when I was growing up, I thought, and I don't know if it was like these guys are playing a lot of notes or I made an argument once that like metal music is the closest to classical music that we have. Probably not a great argument. But
I can see it though.
But yeah, so like, but then that also makes me think like, was Toto not a good band? It's like, no, Toto was freaking amazing, you know, like just because they weren't playing metal, you know. Steely Dan, are they not good? You know, it's like, no, I love like 15 of their songs. Like I can, you know, like I can probably name them, you know.
It's good.
But I don't know. And that was, we were talking about it earlier, like maturing, I guess. But like, I used to just think that like, I don't know. Then again, you know, Steely Dan is, you know, those guys aren't running around on stage with a pyro show and waving a British flag while trying to avoid getting hit by a giant animatronic Eddie, you know, like
so cool.
It's wild. I don't know. Somebody asked me, I was talking with somebody on like the ride home from a show recently about like best shows or something, and Iron Maiden was one of them that came up. What are some of your like craziest shows you went to, like show wise?
Me, I would say crazy shows. I mean, seeing Slipknot in 2001. No, it wasn't 2001. But like it was before, like right when Iowa was out, maybe, or a little after when Iowa came out. I saw them in Cedar Rapids with Slayer. That was pretty crazy. I mean, I was only 16.
That's awesome.
So, you know, 15, 16 years old. And, you know, they didn't even have like the hydraulic drums that Slipknot has, you know. They were just some kegs up there. It was bare bones. And Slayer headlined. Slipknot did not.
That's pretty wild.
It was just really, it was neat. Anyway, that was pretty wild. But like there was one time we went to this place called the Ranch Bull in Omaha. And we saw Chimera, and it was a small venue, and it was probably maybe like 100 people or so. And that was probably the wildest show because there was no security. I was probably 13, 14 at that time. I was pretty young. And it was just like, what an experience, you know, being a small town kid Now you're in a, an underground venue in Omaha. So it's a whole nother lifestyle. And you're talking, pre social media. So you don't have a lot of access to what you expect to see when you go into these cities. Like now you can just look on your phone and be like, oh, I guess it looks like there might be some traffic there, and no, it looks like there might be some protests going on over here.
Yeah, this is where
But
I
like back
park.
then, you
That's what the
show,
venue looks like. This is what it looks like inside.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, all the data's
and you
there.
literally can find out like, oh, cool, they serve these drinks there.
Yeah.
No, it's like you fucking show up and you're like, what are you? You don't want to say the wrong thing because you're scared of everybody, but really you're all there for the same thing. But it's just like you live that square lifestyle in a small town in the 90s, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Chimera was probably my craziest show, or like, like most really, really made my heart jump.
I still remember a couple of the first like local like I still remember the first time I went down to the Vaudeville Muse once when I was like, I think I was 16, maybe 17, somewhere in there, like to go watch a band play, and it's like I remember the first time I went to, quote unquote, a bigger city, to a venue that didn't have, like you said, barricades, and you could just walk up and talk to the band, and like they're right there, kind of stuff. Like I was mind blown because like the only other experiences I had were like big venues, or like you sit down and watch them like at a theater type place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I could totally see that, where like going to see, like, it's almost like breaking out of your shell, or like coming of age music wise kind of deal. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, a rite of passage.
There you go. Yeah.
You don't have you think you want to be in a band and you want to grow up and do crazy things and sleep in a van across the country. You got to go to concerts like that first.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You know what you're getting into.
It's funny. Like I've had these conversations with people that I see like in other bands that we'd play shows with, and they would have been at these same concerts that I was at. Like there was a Korn concert that everybody was at that I didn't realize everybody else went to that. Like 10 years ago, here I am on tour talking to this person in Denver that's from Des Moines, and they're like, yeah, I saw Korn over there in Cedar Rapids in 2002 or whatever it was. And it's like, holy shit, so was I. But I sat up over in the stands over here, and they're talking, oh, we're over here on this part. And like, how the hell do, like, you go to the same concert with these people, then you end up playing a show together with the same people in a totally different state? It's just weird how we're all connected in a weird way.
That's freaking wild. Especially like to go to a different state and run into somebody where it's like 10 years ago we were in the same place at the same time. That's just, that's so, okay, I bet that happens a lot, but I bet people never track it down like you did. I'm sure. I'm sure there's instances where like you've been in a gas station with somebody who was in Omaha at a KFC at the same time, or some like just some weird thing, but like you didn't realize it, and it just ships passing in the night, and that's the end of it. But like to actually figure it out is mind blowing.
Yeah, to put those together, it is fun. There's been times where like, where one person in the band is friends. Well, here's a good example, actually. I have a stuffy nose here today. This is crazy. So we went on the road with Dark Mirror. I don't remember the year, but there was a guy that I don't want to mess up his name, so I won't say it. But they had a friend that was from Des Moines that lived in Denver. That he didn't come. He did come out to the show, but he put us up for the night and like gave us a place to stay and everything. So we're a bunch of small town kids, and we're in Denver, and most of us don't know anything or what to do, where to stay, the safe places, any of that stuff. And this dude's like, oh yeah, I'm from Des Moines, I know this guy, come on over. And we all just like camped out like it was summer camp.
That's wild.
It's cool. Like, and then after that, then we just continued to, became friends on Facebook, and then, you interact that way. You show back up again a year or two later, playing a show in their town, and you just hit them up, kind of like you were saying earlier about sending the links to people and the music. It's people like that you would stay in touch with, and because I don't know, people measure success in different ways, I guess, but I always kind of measured it in like how many friends you can accumulate, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not about capitalizing either. Like, yeah, the streams are cool, but it's more like I'm more happy to know that somebody took the time to listen than I am to see the number go up.
yeah. I mean,
That makes sense?
yeah, for sure. I mean, some of what you're talking about is just basic networking. It's like, I mean, it's not really basic, but it's it's networking. You have to like know people in order to get things done. Like we had talked about it on your last episode, I'm sure, but in Ancient Elm, you guys weren't basically like known for just going out on like a tour a year almost. I mean, it's not like you would do it every year, but like, maybe it was every other year, but you'd go out for 1 to 2 full weeks playing a show every single night in a different state, like, I don't know.
It was work.
Yeah. I mean, it was work for sure, but like in order to set something like that up, you have to know people and you have to kind of set it up, or you have to have a lot of faith and know that like you're going to be personable when you get to a venue and you need to find a location, or at least know somebody that knows where not to park your van when you take a nap for the night, like.
Exactly. It's kind of like that. I didn't know about this until after like I did all the touring and stuff, because I just really stuck my neck out and just, like you said, networked with everybody. But I did this is off topic, but kind of on the same topic. I don't remember what it's called. It's called the Green Book. It's referring to the Route 66, or Route 66, the road, the whatever they call it, the American road. So back then there was segregation, and if you were African American traveling through certain towns called sundown towns, which I'm not. Are you familiar with those?
No.
So a sundown town essentially was a place that was very racist and didn't like people of color after a certain time. So they said, don't let the sun come down when you're in town. It's like a sundown town.
Okay.
So anyway, this Green Book was a networking book for these particular families. Safe places that they could stay at on Route 66 where they, here, this is a restaurant. They have a room in the back with a few beds. You guys can stay here for the night. It's a safe place.
Okay.
But don't stay in this town because this and that and the other. And then this town has this problem. So this book was like a guide on this vacation you could take, right? So it kind of like is the same thing with these bands. You develop this network, and you have your own book now, but it's digital essentially, this day and age, but now you have those networks of safe places to go across the country. And I've actually used those resources for myself when I would be on a vacation with my family. Like, there have been a certain town, I'm like, well, maybe, where's a good place to eat at? Or, where's the best coffee at? Like, I have people I can just hit up real quick, say, hey, I'm going to be in town. Where do you recommend me taking my kids to a water park or something in your town? And they'll shoot me ideas. And then now I have a whole nother chapter that I can use that I got from this music thing. I can use for my family thing. Kind of like that little Green Book. It's like all these little pockets. It's wild.
Dude, that is so cool. I mean, that's okay. Usually it's like, I don't want to say music gets in the way of family, but like usually that's the reason people like quit doing music, because they have a family and stuff like that. But you found a way to like translate it backwards and be like, well, I'm using all these skills that I learned from music in my family life, which is kind of a wild thing.
It is, and it works out well, because you got to look at, there's a lot of sacrifices you make in bands. I mean, you give a lot up. And if you're going to go on tour, even if it is for a week, dude, you're going to miss so much. I missed both of my kids' first walk. Like, they both could walk. They couldn't walk when I left on tour, and I came back home, and they could walk. Oh. I was like, I missed that. I missed first words, things like that. Because you just sacrifice that time. So when the time, as time moves on and forward, you kind of reflect a lot more, and you look back on like what you gave up, what you lost. But then, like you said, use my sacrifices didn't go they're not worthless.
Yes.
Like I missed this, but guess what? Now I was able to find a nice hotel for me to bring the girls to that had they can get pedicures done and room service. And, we wouldn't have known about this little pocket because all the locals like to go to this place. And my friend that I met on tour once guided me to this place. So now it's my family's to absorb some of what Dad got to get.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to reflect. And I've been helping people. I've been teaching some people locally how to play music too, just kind of guide them on their instruments because, like you said, like all these things I've done and wanted to learn, I want to share with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so funny because a lot of what we described earlier, where it's like you could go online and find anything about any place, anywhere, and whatever. Sometimes there's too much information, and sometimes when you go online, it's just like, oh, it's only raving reviews for everybody, and nobody ever has a bad review. And it's the hole in the wall places that are actually have like the culture of this, like the town you're in or whatever, that are like the best places to go to, and you have the in on how to like go to the places that not everyone knows to go to.
Yes, it's really cool.
That's freaking sweet. So let's kind of round back over here to Tayler with an E. So you were messaging me earlier about like you got a YouTube channel for sure. Is your stuff on like Spotify and all the other doodads?
Absolutely, yeah. Anywhere you can listen to music.
Awesome. And so like your YouTube channel, that was something you were like you messaged me like, how do I get more YouTube subscribers? Like it sucks, and I'm like, yeah, it does suck. This is the worst thing ever, is trying to get more YouTube subscribers. But like the only thing I found is just post a bunch. But if you're a band, like how much can you post on a YouTube channel?
Yeah, if you're not on, if you're not playing shows, and you got to have all your different things in order. But
yes.
In my case, it's more just music videos and the music itself, which I mean that's what it's about. But when it comes to, like I said, YouTube, you want to have that content. Well, I lack in that department. I'm really bad at social media too.
Well, I feel like everyone has their like different strengths in social media, and like making content, it's time consuming, man. Like that's literally all I do almost all day for my job. I create content. I work at a marketing firm, and I just record, edit, and market podcasts like all day long. Like I'm just chopping stuff up and making all this stuff, and then to the point where like when I get home, I don't want to make any more content. I'm just done. And,
over this day.
Yes, I made some reels for this podcast for Audible Farm, but like they're few and far between. I don't make them enough, and they're not posted frequently enough to matter. And but anyways, yeah, so like YouTube channel subscribers is tough. The only way really is to like hook them in with something, music video, something, but you really got to kind of pester people with that. And like you said, without the other outlets like a CD or going out and playing live or just some other way of getting in people's faces to let them know that this thing is out there, it's tough to let people know that this thing is out there. I'm sure it helps though that you have, obviously, like people know you as a musician, and you have this back catalog of people, like you said, you can send this stuff to kind of at least get some eyes on it.
Yeah, it's neat to do that, to give. It gives them a different perspective also, because when you met me, if anybody had met me that's in my social media realm, they know me as a metal drummer. Like that's how you met me. And to give this to you and to show you that this is not just the drums by me, this is everything by me. So it kind of gives it a different look for people also, because maybe like, oh, hey, I bet my buddy so-and-so will like this. They didn't like Ancient Elm. That was too aggressive, but this might be a little more in their pocket,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of, so it is kind of cool to have that, but it also kind of, it's like I said, it's always just like the friends that you've met. It's like you just follow up with them because that's what you like. That's why you are friends, is because of music.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, so
it's not like you have to talk about anything else but music, really.
That is pretty true. I will say that, like, a lot of the people that I have in common music wise, it's not like I'm hitting them up like, oh, did you watch, SummerSlam, or like what, like I'm not like, we don't have anything else really like that much in common. Not that we don't, but it's not like I'm just messaging people like, oh, sweet, did you hear that Totino's pizza rolls are on sale, or like whatever the heck, you know. Not like, I don't know, what do people small talk about? I guess maybe I'm bad at it.
I don't know. I don't watch sports either, so you ain't got that for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there is sports. That's right. I completely forgot all about Spider.
Yeah, people talk about those
Oh, it's hilarious.
stuff.
I found myself, I used to love sports so much, and now I just feel like it's disposable. I feel like there's no like legacies being made really, and like the legacies that are there are just manufactured, and then it makes me question whether or not all of the legacies from my childhood is like, was Larry Bird really that good? Was Michael Jordan really that good? You know, and it's like, yeah, they were that good, but I don't know. Now that I work in marketing, I just see all the marketing and I'm like, this is crazy. Like I can see through all this.
Oh yeah, dude. I bet you do see a lot from that aspect. You know, that angle, kind of like, like the pay-to-play shows. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they still do that or not, but I'm sure they do.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, how are you playing a show with this band? That's so cool. Like, well, it wasn't because I had 1,000 Spotify listeners.
Yeah.
You know, my 150 monthly listeners aren't getting me onto shows. Like, those people buy onto that shit. You know, it's so disheartening to like. When you learn that when you learn how you get onto shows like that, it almost makes you sad. It's like, ah, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean there is some merit behind it, but also it's like,
oh, absolutely, yeah, you still have their credentials there, but some guys are like, it's almost like you see, I don't know, like you pass on the show because you were offered it. And then you see another band took the show, and you're just thinking like, dude, that was the worst idea you could have done. But you're like, but you support them though, and you still buy the ticket, and you still say go get it. You know, you're not going to rip on them about it.
No,
it's just the principle is what you're ripping on.
Yeah,
like, this is stupid. Like, why are we doing this? Like, that was a hard lesson to learn though when we, in the earlier days of music, with playing shows. Jesus, it's the only way you could get into those venues down in Des Moines and Omaha from when you lived up here in Sac City.
Yeah, it was really tough. And like, so for people that don't know, the pay to play thing was like, and this is the crazy thing, like a promoter would be like, we're booking this band to play here. It costs $1 gazillion and we need to make some of this money up. So any of the opening bands have to pay us to be on the show because they're going to be playing with this headlining, touring, awesome band. It's kind of neat, I guess, but like the way that you make the money on this pay-to-play scheme or whatever it is you have to sell tickets. They'll give you tickets, as many tickets as you want to sell, but at the end of the day, if you don't have $200 or whatever it is, you're not going to play on this show. So like if you sell 10 tickets at $20 a pop, there's your $200. But if you don't, you have to pay them the money. But now you're basically doing their work for them and being a salesman and selling tickets and promoting. And I guess it behooves everybody to promote it, but that was the thing that I didn't like about it. I was okay with the structure of it, but I looked through everything and it's like, there's no venues promote any music anymore. Promoters don't even promote music anymore.
No, they don't. They just have the hookup.
That's all it is. And that's the benefit, I guess, of doing this networking thing is you at least are in the conversation to be on these pay to play shows. But yeah. But at the same time, I have also been in bands that have played a lot of these, and it's fun to play in front of a lot of people with a cool headlining band, but it also kind of sucks to part with the money if you don't, like, wow, I drove to Des Moines and paid $50 to play a show. Yuck, like that doesn't make any, and the place is packed and like, I don't know. So like there's that aspect of it, but I've also like played in bands that have been offered those shows and just been like, no, thank you. We're not going to do it because it's not what we're going to do, so I guess it depends what you want out of it.
Yeah, I've shut down plenty. There was one, I did the math real quick on the calculator here. There was one that we had to sell 60 tickets to. And this is what broke our back. We decided because we're getting ready to go on tour, our first tour and everything. We were going to kick it off with this show with these bigger bands. And it cost us $1,560. to play it, and I think we sold like maybe $500 worth of tickets, so we ended up spending $1,000.
Oh, wow,
to play for 20 minutes, and it didn't even it's just like, I don't even remember if we even paid all of it, to be honest with you, because it was a very verbal deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was never any contract signed. You never had riders. You didn't have anything like that. And there were times when I was on tour with Ancient Elm, which I thought was freaking crazy, dude, that somebody did the same thing. The promoter we worked with did the same thing to other bands for our show to pay us.
Oh, wow.
It's like, wait, it's like, hold on. That is completely against everything that we stand for.
So
Like,
they were making, you're now the touring headlining cool band that plays stuff. Look at all their Spotify streams, and you're coming to town, and now the promoter's like, if you want to be on this show, you got to pay me money.
yeah,
That's
I was like,
wild.
dude, yeah, it was, and you know what? We didn't make more than $200 a show. So like, you're telling me you're pouncing on these little fucking kids to pedal around, you know, $200. You can, if you're a real promoter, you can get that much. You can get $200 worth of people into a bar.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, being a promoter is a big gambling game. That's the only bad part about it. But it's also like, that's why I'm not a promoter, is because I don't want to sign up for this shit show if it goes downhill.
Fuck no. But it was Ancient Elm. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't Trapped or Shine Down or whoever.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a band that's going to bring people in. It was Ancient Elm. We're going to bring 12 people into your venue. And we're asking for $200 up front. Like, but we would always negotiate it. But I always shot 200 every time, because why not just, if they're going to say go for it, go for it. So they did. But yeah, they ended up, like, the bands, I remember hanging out with some of the, because they were always younger guys than us. And it just kind of seemed weird. And I asked them, I was like, so, you know, what are you guys all doing? Like, oh, we had to sell these tickets. And we had, I was like when they told me they had done, like, the ticket sales deal, because we were kind of talking shit on it amongst ourselves anyway. And then when those kids said they did it, I was just, I mean, we didn't do anything about it, because what are you going to do? You're going to yell at somebody for paying you what you asked? True. You know, like, you have to be smart and not overreact, especially when you're not in your own home. In those situations too, you can't come at a promoter in Washington or Nevada. You're from Iowa. This isn't your home. And you're going to go in there and you're going to say, fuck you. You fuck these guys over. Like, he's going to pull a gun on your ass and shoot you, man. Like, we live around crazy rednecks. They are not rational thinkers, especially if you're not from around here, or if you're not from around their parts. They don't care about you.
Yeah, true.
Like, you know, so like, why would they want an aggressive person from not their community messing with them? So I never really barked at anybody when I heard that, but it really felt kind of like, God damn it, why'd they do that?
Yeah, it just cheapens the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it just seemed, I would have been happy with a door deal. I would have never made anybody pay us like that. I didn't think that was fair.
Yeah, it's like winning a pie eating contest and finding out the whole thing was fixed.
Yeah.
Come on.
Bullshit.
Oh, that is actually, like, the last topic I did want to bridge with you before I replug Tayler with an E is obstacles as musicians. We've covered a couple of them in here, and I think that was, you know, you kind of talked about it. We're getting older. We're changing a little bit as people. We have different perceptions on life, and I mean, we're still the same person, but we're kind of just maybe going at things a little bit differently. I think that's one thing that's probably an obstacle for some people as musicians, is just changing as a person.
Oh yeah, you do, because I wouldn't say your morals change, but like your routine will change. You'll have a job. You have to pay for shit. You know, it's not like you're making millions and thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars even off your music,
mm-hmm.
unless if you are, then fantastic. But I mean, in our case, it's like, you know, I got kids, you know, and they weren't, and you know, I got married while touring. I had both of my kids while I was out touring. You know, I missed all that shit. So like, you had to make, you know, there was a time when my sister was killed in a motorcycle accident. And then when my mom passed away about 6 months after that, that was kind of a time in my life when it kind of shifted to make me want to do something different than what I've been doing the whole time, where it was go on tour, write a record, do an EP, whatever, go on tour, play shows, always doing that. It's like, okay, well, we did it. We got to do some other stuff. And like, but like when that rock, like when that everything just exploded, and rocked my world, it's like, okay, I need to do something different. So that's kind of another reason why the whole Tayler thing came into play too, is like, it was a nice outlet to let some of that stuff go.
That's interesting. I mean, like, I'm not much of a music writer. I have like a handful of garbage riffs recorded in pieces, and I never really put things together or finish anything. But like, as an artist, I mean, I'm sure it's the same way for somebody that paints or whatever it is. But like, it's cool to know that like, as you change as a person, so does your like output as an artist. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's people that are like, oh, I wish this band was the same forever. Why did they change? Well, guess what? The people in the band changed. Times changed. Culture changed. Everything changed, and it's kind of fun to know that like your music kind of morphs and changes with that.
It does. And it's not forced. And if it's forced, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you think about like some bands put out, like you said, they put out the same record over and over. Like, well, because they're forcing that record. They're just happy with that. Like, I don't know. I get what you're saying, though. Change is much needed in this world.
Or like forced change is also weird. Because, I mean, imagine all those like 80s metal bands that put out one grunge-ish album and then shifted hard and went right back to what they were doing. So like that's an example of a manufactured change that you can tell. The obvious one is Metallica, Saint Anger. It's like, this was different. What was going on here? They just like shifted hard, and I mean, like Megadeth Risk was another one that just kind of came to mind. But like, I don't know, like Warrant did the same thing. They came out with 2 banger hair metal albums, and then did Dog Eat Dog, which wasn't terrible, but I mean, it's nobody knows it, so like everybody knows Cherry Pie.
I like Warrant.
Dude,
they're one of my favorites.
I was obsessed with Warrant for a long time. They're so good.
Yes. Is there grunge records? I wanted to tell you there was a Vanilla Ice record that he did. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, Vanilla Ice did Too Cold is the name of the record. And I want to say Wes Borland's brother worked on that record with him. And you got to look it up. But he did Ice Ice Baby, but like rock, metal, grunge, new metal.
Okay, Too Cold.
Too Cold. Seriously, you're going to laugh your ass off when you listen to it, because it's like, oh my God, it didn't age well. But boy, did he give it a good try.
I feel like there was a time in the 90s where everybody had an album, like, not that this is the same thing, but like basketball players had rap albums and wrestlers were making rap albums and stuff. And it's funny because I feel like the rappers went through this identity crisis at the same time, where they're like, I'm going to try and get heavy. Let's see what happens here, and some of it worked, some of it didn't.
Metal.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I should just call and talk with you anyway. You should just call and talk with you anyway. You're fun to talk to.
Thanks, man. Well, I mean, this is so funny. I was just like, put 2 and 2 together. Maybe that's how rap metal started. People were just like, I'm actually hard and heavy and can rap. Like, think about how like maybe Seven Dust first started. The obvious one I'm going to point out is Stuck Mojo. They were my favorite rap metal band.
I forgot about Stuck Mojo.
Dude, I was obsessed with them. Even as they changed and turned into Fozzy, like, because that's the same band.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the same drummer and the same guitarist and possibly the same bassist.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That band just changed over time, and eventually they became like a band called like Cafu, and then Six Speed, and then made a Fozzy album like as a joke, and then it took off, and they were like, oh, all right, here we go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But if we're talking new metal, I don't know if you'd call them new metal, but my favorite new metal band would be American Head Charge.
Ah, yeah. I feel like there's a lot of new metal bands that get like just forgotten about.
That's one of, they only had like the one record was huge, but then they had that they transitioned differently. They were always like, I don't know, but they're my favorite.
That genre is very wide open, honestly, because it turned into a lot of different things. Like, I feel like that kind of stuff like influenced a lot of what we now have as like modern metal bands.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's got that industrial sound. Like everybody has that like blanket of industrial in them.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I wonder if that like, I don't want to just like point at bands and be like these ones, but like, I feel like it almost leaned into the, like this, the screamo, not the screamo bands, but the ones that were like the really heavy ones. Like I don't want to say like Atreyu or just point at one, but like, I was it not Trivium, but like, there's like a few bands that were like, these guys actually, they're playing a lot of notes, or like there's solos in these songs, or like whatever, like, and I don't know. I feel like they kind of just, I feel like it went that direction somehow. I don't know why, but
Darkest Hour was another good one, but they weren't really new metal though. They were more like metal, like metal.
mm-hmm. Yeah, the 90s was a weird time for metal, and I don't know. I feel like it's kind of fun to know that like it still exists. A lot of genres stay, but like most of the ones that just die off, or you would just consider it pop, I guess, pop music.
Yeah, it would be. It's such a blanket statement. Pop music is just nah.
Yeah, it could
It
be.
turns me off when I hear that. I'm like, I don't want a poppy.
The worst part about pop music is I can hear a song 3 times and I know all the words, and now it's stuck in my head.
That's what it is, I
That's
guess.
the point. That's the point,
That's the point of it.
I always loved listening to albums and re-listening to them and finding new things. Like, oh, I didn't realize they were doing this in the background, or did you hear that pinch harmonic right there, or whatever it happens to be. Like those are
The
all
layers.
Yes. All right. So,
Well, hey, I was gonna ask you, can I plug my other project really quick to you?
yes. Was that Maroon Lagoon?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm playing drums for that band right now.
I had question marks around it because I didn't know if that was just like a funny name or what the deal with it was. But what is Maroon Lagoon? Let's talk about that before we end it.
Maroon Lagoon is a project that I joined. It's not my band. Well, I got to join the band though, with Noah and Jaden. They live around here, but yeah, that's a project that we started. That's hopefully going to be I'll do some more performances with that one. More live music events with that group before Tayler.
Okay. What kind of music?
But yeah,
is it?
that's I would put it into like the grungy. I don't know. They do guitar solos, and I think that's awesome.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for guitar solos, but I would peg it. I'd say that we could have started this band in like the '90s, and everybody would receive it well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. You guys got social media for Maroon Lagoon everywhere and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about social media. I know it's on Instagram, but music is out everywhere, though, on all the other platforms.
Awesome. And they're based out of where?
Pocahontas.
Freaking sweet. That's like right down the road from me. How do I not know this exists?
Yeah, what the heck, dude?
I thought I had my fingers on the pulse, but I guess not.
No, you're slipping in your old age.
I am. Oh, gosh. Don't remind me.
But yeah, why don't you come to your house and play a show then? That's what we'll do.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I mean, you guys did come to Humboldt and played a show with Three Finger Betty at a place that doesn't exist anymore, so that's pretty awesome.
Oh, really? That place is gone now?
Yeah, that place is now like a nutrition supplement sales place.
Because everybody turned into alcoholics there?
I don't know. Like, it wouldn't.
And now we need the nutrients?
Yes. Oh man, that was fun. This is the last thing we're going to talk about before. Obviously, all your links, I'm going to collect them from you, put them down below. But now that we're like old guys, I feel like this is the musician's version of like you always hear like carpenters or plumbers or electricians like I did the wiring in that house, or I did the plumbing in this house, or whatever. Like, have you ever been to like places and you're like, I played a show in there once, and they're like, this is a diner, and you're like, no, it used to be this, but I played a show there once. Have you done that?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh yeah. Oh man, diners, and like they become like bookstores, or quilt shops. Basements, like the basement shows, like the houses are torn down.
Oh yeah.
Shitty bars, those are like, there's a couple places I've seen recently on Facebook. One place particular called Bar. It was the number one dive bar in Denver. We always played there when we would be in town. and I saw a picture of it getting torn down the other day. It's like,
Oh
oh,
no.
bummer. Like every tour, like whenever we went out west, we conclude our tours in Denver. We always had a group of friends that are always there. Like I said earlier in the thing, when Dark Mirror's friend hooked us up with with a place to stay, we just developed those friendships.
Hmm.
So we always make sure to go. We go Salt Lake City, Denver, sometimes Omaha, and then home.
Hmm.
We'd always stop and see all of our friends.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right. So Maroon Lagoon coming to a stage near you somewhere, sometime soon. Hit them up, find them, book them, see what they got going on. And I'm going to put links for that down below. I'm also going to put links down below for Tayler with an E. And that's your new solo project. So be sure to check that out. Sent me a link. Forgive me, I forgot the name. I was going to have it. I thought I wrote it down. Witch Hunt? Something like that. What's
Which one? Oh, Sea Witch.
Sea Witch. That's that exactly. They were on water. Sea Witch makes sense. Yes, I listened to that the other day, and that's what sparked this conversation. And also, thank you for agreeing to be my test dummy for a remote interview type thing going on here. So I appreciate.
Well,
that.
yeah, it's awesome. It worked out well because I had to kill a wasp in the middle of it here. I had to save my kids. You said obstacles about being an old man and stuff. Like, that's one. If you got kids, you got to kill spiders. And especially if they're girls, man, you got bugs to take care of. If there's an ant, oh my gosh, my daughter would be like, oh my God, it's an ant.
Well, you got to think. This is something I thought the other day. I was going to the bathroom and I saw a spider in the corner of the bathroom, and I was just like, oh, if I was a kid, I'd be freaked out. And then I was like, well, if I was a kid, I'd be 4 feet closer to this thing and it would be as big as the palm of my hand, like
Exactly.
I just I don't know why I had that realization, but I think somebody said once to me, like, kids, when you were a kid, you used to see so many more bugs, and it's like, well, that's because you're closer to the ground. I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. That's where all the bugs are at.
It's true, yeah, because you got to scale it down to their size.
Yeah. Tayler, thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate this. And
well, thanks for letting me be on. I was happy to hang out with you. I was excited to do this. I was really hoping that we would, it happened sooner than I thought, so that worked out good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I'll get everything down below. Everything's in the descriptions. Just scroll down and check it out.
And don't forget to put your band link in there too.
They're somewhere. People could find them.
Of course, you would.
I'll put yours in there. Mine are somewhere else. I don't know. I guess I did. You were actually last week was a solo episode, and I didn't even put the links down there. I don't think so. Whoops. I don't. Whoops.
We'll find you.
Yes, we'll find it. Okay, so Tayler, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely. We'll talk to you later, dude.
There you have it, everybody. Thanks for listening to the episode. Tayler, thank you very much for joining me on this one. This was a fun one. We were just messaging one day, and it's like, you want to do a podcast? Like, yeah, sure. When? How about tomorrow? Yep. Okay, cool. And so we ended up recording an episode, and I was like, I'll just put a TV up here. So hopefully it looked all right. I don't know. I do have a couple other tricks up my sleeve. I might try some different things, but I think that might be the remote podcast setup, possibly in the future going forward. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if it sounded good or if it looked good or what. But be sure to check out Maroon Lagoon. That's something I'm going to be checking out here in the near future. Fun story though. Tayler with an E. I'll link down below for that as well. So be sure to check that out. But fun story. After I talked with Tayler, somebody hit me up and they're like, "Do you know a drummer that can play, some tunes?" Yeah, sure. How about Tayler? And he ended up playing a set with Riddled with Class over the weekend. Never really met any of the guys too much at all. Hadn't played with them before. But yeah, he sent me a couple of videos of them playing, and it was great. He did a great job. So super cool. That's just networking, baby. That's how it happens. So I guess if you guys are looking for a drummer, hit up Tayler. He can fill in for a show, definitely. So check out the links down below. I'm also going to put the Ancient Elm links down below if I can pull them up from an old podcast or find them all. So check all this stuff out. And thank you, Tayler, for joining me. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to check out the Audible Farm shop, the Patreon if you want to watch episodes a day early. There's I got some hats left. If you guys want some hats, there's t-shirts in the shop. There's hoodies in the shop. I don't know who would be buying a hoodie when it's like 100 degrees outside with 98% humidity around here. But hey, if you need one, hit me up. I've got a few. Audiblefarm.com for basically everything else. Check us out on TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. I started posting stuff on TikTok, so if you guys are into that thing, check it out. You'll see clips of the Audible Farm podcast. I started posting some around, so if you like those, let me know, and I'll keep making more, and we'll keep posting them. But thank you guys. I'll check you guys next week.